This is what we're going to design in SketchList 3D on this video. To accomplish it, we have to create the project. At any point I say New Project. Give it a name and enter the dimensions. And that's that. This box is the assembly that's going to contain our storage unit. The first thing I do is enter one of the legs. Go to the New Board form, click Add Board, and I'll take a second to explain this. The Add Board form defines the board to the SketchList model. It contains information about the board that's used in displaying the board, in preparing the cut list, and in generating the optimized layout diagrams. So I'm going to call this leg front, left. Material for this board is going to be solid wood. Going to the material database and look for a solid lumber piece that I want to use here. Now the key is, because that leg is 2 inches by 2 inches, I don't have an available piece of wood here. So what I'll do is create one. So I add a new material for this project. I'm going to call it, and you can name these anything, stock. The width will be 2, the length is going to be 96, and the thickness is going to be 2. The grain direction is going to run along the length, and I can pick any material. I'll take that. And say OK. So that material has come to the top of the list. I select it and click Apply. So there's my leg stock. The width of the board I'm creating is going to be 2. The height is going to be 39, and the depth will be 2. In the SketchList scheme, it's necessary to specify which one of these is going to be the thickness. I'm going to pick the depth as being the thickness. Also, I'm going to enter the height to indicate the grain direction. And now I can locate the board. I don't need to. I can accept these values, but in fact I'm going to. By the diagram, it looks to me that the board is set to the left by 1 inch and set back from the front by 1 inch. And it is on the floor of the unit. Say Add Board, and there it is. I want to do a couple of things with the board. I'm going to select that board, go into the board detail level, and carefully select the back edge, or the back surface, I guess, in that case, and I'm going to put a dado in that board. It's going to start 3 inches from the bottom. The height is 30, and the width will be 1/2. Depth be 1/2 as well. Save that. Thing I want to do is take this leg and clone and mirror it, creating an identical board on the right side of this assembly. and I'm going to rename this right. To fill out my frame, I'm going to take this board. First thing I'm going to do is clone that board and take the cloned board, right click, and rotate it 180 degrees. I'll set it then to be 1 inch from the back. See that the back is 20, back of the assembly is 20, so the back of this board would be 19, and go that way. Now I have that board with the dado facing the inside, or the front leg. Take that and clone and mirror that. Now I want to put the rails in. So click the new board form, name it, pick a material. Again, this is solid lumber. The width of this is going to be 3/4. The height will be 2 inches. And the depth I'm just going to guess at right now because I'm going to adjust it once I get it into place. The grain will run along the depth dimension. Left of this is going to be, again, I can line it up when I put it in place, but there's a 1 inch set to the left and a 3/4 inch spacing to the dado, so I can guess that that's 1 3/4. From the bottom, it's going to be 36 as a guesstimate, and this front is going to be 3. And the board, and see, my guesstimates weren't too bad. Can check that board and notice the top of that board is 39. If I take that, make its top 39, moving it up. The back of this board is 3. The front of that board should be 3. The front of this board is 17, so the back of this board is 17. I'm just entering a value. There's no calculation or entry to be made after that. I just click the button depth and that figures out what it should be. And then I'm going to take that board and clone it. I will make the bottom of this board 3 inches, like that. The next board I put in here is going to be the panel. This time I want to change to a sheet material, and I'm just picking different materials so they look, there's a contrast in them and you can see them during the design process. But I'm going to put that in there. This is going to be 3/4, and that is the thickness of the board, just like that. That's the board edge. The height, guesstimate, and the depth is going to be, well, it would be the same depth as the rails, or 14. The grain direction is going to run along that dimension. Left will be 1 3/4. Bottom, I can just again take a guess, and the front is going to be 3. I can be guessing at any of those and adjust them as you saw before. I'm going to add the board, and that's my panel. Now I'm going to move to the spreadsheet, and I really should take these and name them. So this is bottom, makes it easier for me to see the difference. What I notice is that the top, the bottom of the top rail is 37. So the top of the panel should be 37. So I type in 37 there and just click that height button there. The rail bottom has a top value of 5, so I click the 5 and I move that. And there is my panel. To keep that panel from falling out of location, I'll go to the board detail level, select an edge, and in fact select all the edges. I'm just moving with my mouse, clicking with my mouse button while I hold down the Shift key. And then I select joinery. I want to put tenons on this board. The value here is going to be a 1/2 inch. I'm going to automatically center that like that. And the depth of that will be, say, 1 inch. Well, 3/4 of an inch. And if I say save, you see that the tenons are there. I come back to the assembly level, and now that if I take that board and hide it, you see that there's a tenon. Now that may not be perfectly engineered, but you get the idea. Clone and mirror, and then clone and mirror. I'm assuming that there's a rail, I can't tell from the photograph, but there's a rail across the back of this assembly. And already you're starting to see the pattern. This is rail, back, bottom. Using that beech material, width, guesstimate, height, 3, depth will be 3/4 in this case, which is the edge is the 3/4 edge. The grain will run the width dimension, and I won't even bother to do the locating here. What I would have is, I'd look here. Now the blue dots are another tool in SketchList. So if I take that and right click it and copy its values of 3, 0, and 19, copy those, and then take that and paste, right click and paste, and there it is. It needs a little bit of adjustment. I do this again, right click from the front, actually I take that front is 17, so this front has to be 17 and 3/4 or so. And the bottom, looking here, the bottom of that is 3. The bottom of this is 3. Like that. This is another tool in SketchList that you use quite a bit. Dots. The corresponding dot to the blue dots locate things. This red dot is going to size that. So I'm just going to hold down the Shift key on my keyboard, drag that over, and when it gets close, it snaps in place. While I'm here, I notice the top of that is 39. I'm going to make a clone whose top is 39 inches from the bottom, like that. Next, I put in the panel. Using that material, width, height, depth will be 3/4. And that's the edge. The edge is that way. Run the grain the width direction. Well, I'll run it the height direction. I look down now and see the rail back. The rail back bottom has a left of 3, so I can say this is 3. And the rail back, the bottom of that rail is also 3, so say that's 3. And the distance from the front is going to be 17 3/4, and add that board. Now it's kind of in place, but not quite. So as I did before, I take that blue dot, this blue dot, copy its value like that, take this blue dot, paste that value like that, and here I'll just go to 17, well it was 17 3/4. So just get out of that, paste that, say OK, and right click, left click the red dot while holding that down and move it over. Right click that red dot, move it up. Oops, I went too far. Notice that that is 2 inches tall. I can right click this and make its height 2 inches. I right click the red dot, make that 2 like that, and again take this shift key, drag like that. Clone the back rail, and notice here that that's flush with the front. So the front of this is 1. So I go to back rail and set its front value to 1, clicking the column heading back to bring it up, just like that. Clone it one more time. This is front rail top. This is front rail bottom. The bottom of the side rail is 3. The bottom of this is going to be 3. The height, it looks in the drawing, is this is more like an inch. So I can enter a new value for the bottom, a new value for height, and click the top. Putting in the shelf, width, height is going to be the thickness. Depth is going to be something like 18 or so. I'll do 15. The grain will run that way. And I think it's easier now just to locate the board using the tools. So I do that. There's a little carpentry that has to go on that, but I'm going to line it up to that because it seems like it should be. So I right click that blue dot, copy its value, right click this blue dot and paste its value. You have that, again with a little bit of a decision to be made on how you're going to do that, notch this or whatever. The right of that is 2.5. Right click this. This is 2.5. Okay. Value of that is 47.5. So the right value of this is 47.5. Clone and space it from the bottom. I want a space amount of 18 inches. Clone, like that. Clone one more time. And call this one top. I notice that the top of the legs is 39 inches. So the bottom of my top would be 39 inches, like that. Now I can just take that red dot and just peel it right out to the edges of the assembly. Like that. Looks by the photograph, it looks like that's too tall, so I'm going to cut it down. I'm going to change the height to 1. I want to keep the top value at 39, so I click that right there, like that. And one more rail will go in. If I clone and space this rail, this time I want to clone and space from the top, and the space between there is going to be 6 inches, like that. I don't know what, other structures the person who designed this put in, but you assume that there has to be something going on back there. What I will do is put in that center style. So, new board, center style, and the beach material width, height will be 6, and depth will be 3/4, which is the edge or the thickness that way. The will be like that. Now what I can do is check the top is 32, so the bottom of this is 32, like that. Use the align tool, hold down, select that board, hold down the shift key and select this board. Do align on center, like that. Put in a drawer. The drawer comes in, as everything does, in this low bottom left front corner. And another good use of the blue dots. Take the front blue dot value, right click, copy. Take that corresponding blue dot here, right click, and paste. So the bottom of that is 38. So the top of this is going to be 38, 38, like that. The left of that is 24.5. The right of this has to be 24.5 to butt up against there. The depth of the drawer will be 16, just arbitrarily like that. Now I can go into the drawer level just by double clicking here to build that out. What I'll do is enter another board, and I'll use this. Width is the same as the drawer width. Width of the drawer I can see in the spreadsheet down here is 21.5. The height is 6, and the depth is 3/4, which is the edge. The grain's going to run the width direction, like that. And there's my drawer. Now what I can do is I can go to Drawer Detail Level and select edges. So I select that edge, hold down the shift, select that edge, hold down the shift, and that. Going with contours here, I'll round over. The radius will be a half. Now it's going to be facing the back, so I want to move it to the front and save it. Assembly level. There's my drawer. Clone and mirror that. And that's the basic structure of the piece of what we were trying to do. Looking at this, might make some adjustments, like I can take that and make this 24 and take this, right clicking there, make that 25. Oop, yeah, I guess that's right. I'm just going to take that, just do this and clone and mirror it again. The right of that is 24. The left of this is 26. 24, 26. So this is 24. This is 26. And I change the width. You notice that I'm getting a hint there that the width is the button that I'll be picking. Like that. And it tightens it right up. More details to be had in terms of building out the drawer and anything like that, but you get the fundamental use of all the tools in SketchList in this video.